My confidence in Juan Soto coming to the Mets is shaken just a tad. We'll explain all of that as the show rolls on. I tried today to take my emotion out of being a Jet fan and just have an honest discussion about Aaron Rodgers and what the hell the Jets should do with him. Because I think last week, even on the bye week, it's still emotional. They're 3-8. They suck. I'm mad at the quarterback. I'm mad at the owner. I'm mad at everybody. But now, when you don't lose on a football Sunday, there's a chance to take a deep breath and just have an honest, less emotional conversation about what I would do with this said quarterback. But before I tell you what I would do, and Tiki would tell you what he would do, let's hear from the man himself. Because a lot's gone on over the last week. The general manager got fired. Reports came out that the owner wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers. Reports came out that Aaron Rodgers doesn't even want to be with the Jets anymore. And so Aaron Rodgers addressed his future with Pat McAfee. Let's take a listen.
As far as my future goes, I haven't told anybody in my life that I want to play in 2025 and not on the Jets. So that's 100% false. I actually said the opposite. You know, I said that I'm going to wait and see what happens with at the end of the season, and if they want me back, and what happens with Brick, and what happens with the offensive staff, and obviously the GM at the time, and you know, then they just fired Joe. There's a lot of things out of my control when it comes to that. But I've really enjoyed my time in New York. I mean, obviously we haven't had the success that we've all wanted to have, but you know, I've made some great friendships on the team. I've enjoyed living in Jersey. I've enjoyed time in the city. I've enjoyed getting to know the fans. And I came here to win here. So I'm not jumping off ship, you know, like, oh, I definitely want to play and not in New York. I don't even know if I want to play yet.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Aaron Rodgers is at least not Max Scherzer. Let's start there. Because as soon as the Mets showed Max Scherzer that they weren't any good, they were starting to think about the future, Max Scherzer, like a rat, couldn't wait to leave. At least publicly, Aaron Rodgers has said, whether you choose to believe him or not, hey, I like it here.
Well, Max wanted to win a championship. That was his sole purpose, it felt like. And Steve Cohen was promising a championship in 5 years.
And Aaron Rodgers just wants to make friends.
Well, Max Scherzer jumped ship. Think about it. He jumped ship to go win a championship.
Right.
What did he do?
Right.
Now, he didn't contribute, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
He won a championship. I think, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers' objective is. I know he wants to win, obviously, but you had to know coming to the Jets it wasn't just as easy as showing up and winning a championship. They weren't a player away. No team is ever, especially in football, you're never just a player away. And so I think it was a new experience that he was searching as well. I think he wanted to work with Nate again, who was one of his best friends. I think he wanted to see if he could challenge himself to lift this Jet organization. I'm not saying independent, like single-handedly lift it, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Be a good leader, galvanize these guys around you, play good football, and see what happens, and maybe we can win. I think that was what his goal was, and it's so not close to any of that.
No, it's failed.
It's kind of hard not to be or sound depressed.
He sounds depressed, but what he's done differently than all the other mercenaries that have come here is, at least if you believe what he said to Pat, he's not quitting.
Yeah.
4 more years.
He's not giving up. You know, Kevin Durant couldn't wait to leave once he saw that the championship window was maybe not as open as he thought.
Yes.
Same with Max Scherzer. So I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers a little bit of credit and say, cool, bro, I appreciate you not quitting on us. Now, as far as what I want is concerned, I find it very unlikely that I am going to sit here next to you in April or March or February when the season is clearly over and the offseason has begun. I find it very hard to believe that I'm going to want that guy back. It is very likely that me and many Jet fans are going to say, you know what, Aaron? It was a failure. It didn't work, and you're gone.
What about right now?
Here's the thing about right now. And I want every Jet fan and Giant fan, because I think this relates to you guys as well, to understand this. I want the general manager of my football team,
who is currently nobody,
who I don't know who that person is. Or in your guys' case, when you hired Joe Shane 3 years ago, I assume you wanted what I'm about to say. You want your general manager to make the decision about their football team. I may disagree with the general manager. I may scream on the radio, I want this guy, I don't want that guy. I'm a fan. That's my right. But what I don't want is the owner or anyone else to make a decision before the general manager is even hired.
Right.
So whether that new GM is Mike Tannenbaum, please no, or Jeff Ireland, please no, or maybe one of the young emerging candidates from successful organizations like Kansas City or Detroit, I want that person to make the decision. And I want Aaron Rodgers to be on the menu so that if that new GM comes in and envisions a scenario where, you know what, I'll bring him back for a year. I'll run it back with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I have grandiose plans. I'm drafting a quarterback. I'm bringing this young guy in. Whatever his plan is, I want to give that new GM that option. So the idea that was spread out over the weekend of they're going to cut Aaron Rodgers, why?
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot of that is just noise to create reaction. And part of it was the whole Aaron Rodgers wants to play, just not with the Jets.
Which, according to him, is not true.
Which he dispelled. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's being put out from, I don't know, from the Jets side. Like, just create a reaction. Make Aaron Rodgers respond so that it gives us a reason to want to move on from him. Now, again, he debunked it, which is good for him, because the last thing you want, even if it's true, is to have that be the conversation in the locker room.
Right.
There's still 6 games to play.
And they still have a mathematical shot of making the playoffs.
We're not even talking about that, but whatever. But in theory, you're right. There is a chance for them to make the postseason. But I think it's less about that and more just you want to go play winning football. You want to win games, even if it doesn't mean anything necessarily, because it's a pride thing. It's the one thing why when we talk about tanking in football, it's so hard to do because you're going to tell me if I'm competing, say, against Sean, yep, Sean's just better than me. I have no shot. I'm not going to. There's no football player ever does that.
Right.
Even if I know Sean's better than me, I'm going to think I'm better than him. And that's how every athlete plays most of the games that they go into. Now, if it gets to a point where you're down 30-7, like the Giants were, maybe you're not holding the sword as tight. But I think going into every week, it is, I want to win. I want the best players around me, and I want my leaders to be leaders. And I think that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to do for the rest of this season. At least I hope that's what he does for the rest of this season.
And what I want the Jets to do, and maybe they've already done this, is to just be honest. I had a situation over the weekend. I can't really get into the details. They're very personal. But I was very honest with my wife in a situation in which in the moment I said, I don't want to be honest with her. I want to lie to her. But I said, you know what, Evan? I think this situation will be handled better if you just admit what you did. And I did. And it all worked out well. The New York Jets, and right now their representative is really Woody Johnson, which is a damn shame because I don't trust him very much. Woody Johnson needs to sit down with Aaron Rodgers and tell him the truth. And here's the truth. This is my truth, and this is what the Jet truth should be. Aaron, we don't know what our plans for next year are. Is there a scenario in which we are probably going to move on from you? Yes, there is. And we'll release you. We'll make it compatible.
Right.
We're not going to make you look bad. We're not going to leak bad things about you. But there's a chance, because we are going to hire a new general manager, that new GM is going to want to do his own thing.
Right, general manager and head coach.
And head coach. But, Aaron, there's also the possibility that the guys we bring in prefer to have you back. Now, you don't have to come back. You have every right as a future Hall of Famer, as a 41-year-old man, to say, you know what, guys, I don't want to do this. And if that's the case, cool, we'll release you. But we don't know. And because we don't know, we're not releasing you today. We're not allowing you to go wherever you want tomorrow because there's a possibility this can work for both of us in 2025. That's what you tell them. Because, God honest, that's the truth. And for any Jet fan out there that was like me a week ago, because a week ago, I wanted this guy gone. F this guy. He's been a failure here. There's always a distraction. He's 40 years old. I'm done. Yeah, that's the emotion after my team loses. That's the emotion after the team and the season looks completely dead. But when you start to think about the business and you start to think about, well, they're going to hire a new GM. I have no idea what that new GM is going to want to do. Why not give as many options as humanly possible to the new general manager?
Right.
And that includes the possibility that Aaron Rodgers returns for a 21st NFL season.
4 more years.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing that we're not even considering yet is maybe he actually does get a little bit healthier. Right? This was a rushed rehab a year ago, and I know it's been a while, and obviously it's been over a year since the Achilles injury, but he doesn't look healthy this year. It doesn't look like he's moving around like he is not still suffering from some kind of, I don't know, atrophy of a muscle or confidence in his strength and his lower body. So perhaps another year and he looks healthier. I'm not saying he's going to be, because he's going to be 41, but maybe he looks healthier, and that's the difference. The thing that we've noticed for a lot of these games is he is grossly inaccurate at times.
Yes.
I mean,
throwing behind Garrett Wilson, we've seen it a lot.
Un-Aaron Rodgers-like.
Yes.
It was the one thing you could always count on. And it would look unorthodox. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Your mechanics are all over the place. The ball would be where it needed to be. It hasn't been that way this year. And so it's just another, like, I don't know, checkoff point that might actually mean he's okay for a year from now. Again, if I'm a new coach and I'm coming in, there's no chance I would want Aaron Rodgers on this team.
Really?
I'd want to move on.
Really?
I'd want to put it all behind us. I'd want to find a way to cleanse the air of that expectation. Because the problem is with Aaron here, there's still going to be an expectation that you're supposed to win. And so the reality is the Jets need not a rebuild, because there's too much talent, but they need a reset of that expectation. And if Aaron's there, the expectation is necessarily going to be high.
Yeah, but I can't worry about that.
Of course you can't.
The outside noise doesn't matter.
This is a conversation. No, but I think the inside noise is what the...
That because Aaron's there, the inside expectation
100%.
is going to be higher than maybe the reality?
Think about the things that we saw on Hard Knocks. And again, this was 2 years ago. This was before last season. But Jeff Obrecht, now the interim head coach, talking like glowingly about Aaron Rodgers, how he could do everything. That's our guy. We got that guy. And that's just from practice tape.
Right.
It's not even watching like games. That's just watching what he was doing in practice in an internal scout. And so... I think that's going to be there simply because of who he is.
You're right, but here's where, because I'm trying to figure out how I could get to the place where the new head coach and the new general manager convince me, hey, we're going to run it back with Aaron Rodgers. And one of the ways they can do that is Tyrod Taylor's under contract next year. And I like Tyrod Taylor. I've always been a fan of Tyrod Taylor, but he's Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, he is what he is. If the Jets' plan for next year is for Tyrod Taylor to be a bridge quarterback to whomever they draft a year later, or they believe in Jordan Travis and they want him to sit for another year, then if Aaron Rodgers was good with being bridge guy, you can sell me why Aaron Rodgers is a better option as the bridge than Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers would be ever willing to do that. I listened to his answer, the clip we just played, and he talks about loving it here. What I heard, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is a guy that's not saying he loves it here because of football. He loves it here because even though a lot of people don't like to admit it anymore, I'll say it loudly and I'll say it proudly. New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area, it's the best place in America. And I'm so sick and tired of everybody running our area down for whatever reason. It's the best. It's the best for a myriad of reasons. And maybe Aaron Rodgers, a California kid who was stuck in Wisconsin for 2 decades, maybe he realizes what I've realized my entire life. What you realized when you walked in here as a 21-year-old kid. This place kicks ass. Maybe he likes the malls of New Jersey. Maybe he likes the fact that people pump his own gas in the state of New Jersey. Maybe he likes the Broadway shows we offer in New York City.
Which he went to.
Which he did. And by the way, I'm not being sarcastic. I love this area. I love this city. We're not perfect. It's okay to rip it. But at the end of the day, I'd rather live here than anywhere else. And it's possible. And that may not be the reasons you guys care about, because you want to hear Aaron Rodgers say Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. But maybe the reason he would want to stay and the reason why he's talked glowingly about New York, New Jersey is because he just likes it here. May not have anything to do with the football. And if that's his priority as a 41-year-old, and he'd be willing to be that humbled bridge quarterback, then I'd be open to it.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's tons of things he can do here as well as play football. real estate investments, other investments. There's opportunity in New York. If you're good enough and you're aware enough, or you're, I don't know, smart enough to take advantage of it, there is a lot to take advantage of here.
And he can, but there are going to be 2 rules if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And I'd like to quote someone that I'm sure you're familiar with. I know Loogie's familiar with. He's now a famous actor, but at one point he was a poet. And that man's name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If you want to stay here, you're going to know your role and you're going to shut your mouth.
Candy asses.
You know what I mean?
Got to throw the candy
and throw candy asses in there?
Right.
I guess I could. You Rudy Poo. But know your role, which is a different role, not being the hero,
right,
not being Aaron Rodgers, but maybe being the bridge to the future. And the shut your mouth thing is probably more, if you're just the bridge quarterback, we don't need to hear from you every single week. Now, I don't know if we can accomplish that second part, but that's how you could sell me on it. The one thing I know for sure on November 26th is I'm not ready to cut him. I'm not ready to release him. I'm not ready to stick him on IR. Stick him on IR for what? To play Tyrod Taylor? If the Jets had a young quarterback they wanted to evaluate the way the Giants are with Tommy DeVito, then sure. If Jordan Travis was ready to play, then this is a completely different discussion. But as long as he's not, then really? You're going to take away that option from the next general manager?
Right. You play the player that gives you the best chance to win. Currently, that's Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers until Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to retire. That's just the reality of who Aaron Rodgers has been his entire career. And he's got a wealth of experience and knowledge, and he's learning how to play differently, obviously. But I also don't think that you can just quit right now with 6 games to go.
No, I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think it makes sense for us. I don't think it makes sense for them. So hopefully, my fellow Jet fan, it's been how many days since we lost a football game? It's been about 10 days. That's a good run. It's a lot of time.
A lot of time not to be negative.
That's right.
Same old Jets.
It clears your head, and it doesn't allow you to be positive, because nothing I'm saying is positive. It allows you to be rational. It allows you to take the emotion and the anger we have off of a 3-8 start and actually make what I think is fair, reasonable football opinions. But what do you want, Jet fans? Do you want to actually kind of taste the idea of Aaron Rodgers coming back next year? Do you want to cut him right now to send some kind of message, the message they sent to Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas? Or do you want to actually allow your next general manager to make his own damn decision? And keep this in mind. And you guys you should listen to everything. And Tiki, I know your ears are wide open. Aaron Rodgers loves this area. He loves New Jersey.
Stop it.
He loves the area.
So as
Just saying, bro.
I know what you
Giants
mean.
suck.
I know what you mean.
I'll leave it at that.
As still a part owner of the Bucks, he's going to facilitate a trade for Giannis to Brooklyn.